Have you ever found yourself doing something, maybe buying something, or agreeing to something, and then a bit later you kind of stop and think, hang on, why did I do that? What just happened?
Oh, yeah, that little moment of confusion is like you were on autopilot, right? And maybe someone else had their hands subtly on the wheel.
Exactly. And that feeling, that's pretty much what we're getting into today here on the Gist Gab podcast.
We are. We're looking at a really foundational book on this stuff, Robert Cialdini's Influence. It's kind of the go-to guide for understanding those moments.
It really is. Our goal here is just to pull out the core ideas, the absolute essentials from his work, because it reveals how often our decisions get shaped without us even noticing.
And Cialdini's basic idea is, well, pretty powerful. He says there are these 6 basic psychological principles that really trigger our compliance, why we say yes when someone asks us for something.
Right. And what makes it so fascinating is that Cialdini himself, even though he was a social psychologist, found he was getting easily swayed by salespeople and fundraisers.
Yeah, that's what kicked off his research. He wanted to understand it from the inside, sometimes even like going undercover to see these techniques in action.
Which is why digging into this is so relevant for you listening right now. Understanding these isn't just, interesting psychology trivia.
No, definitely not.
It's like a practical shortcut. Helps you make better decisions, maybe spot when you're being intentionally nudged, and honestly, maybe even get better at influencing others yourself. Ethically, of course.
Because our brains love shortcuts, right? Cialdini calls it autopilot mode. Like how we often just assume higher price means better quality. It saves thinking time.
But that shortcut thinking, that's exactly where we can get tripped up. It makes us vulnerable.
Absolutely. Those mental shortcuts are super useful, but yeah, they can be exploited. And one of the first big principles Cialdini really unpacks is reciprocation.
Okay, reciprocation. Let's unpack that. It's this powerful social thing Cialdini talks about, not just like returning a favor, but it's baked into how societies even function.
It's fundamental. It's how cooperation and sharing resources got started, way back. It's like this unwritten social contract.
And you see it in small ways all the time. Think about those free samples at the supermarket, little cup of coffee, tiny square of cake.
Yeah, you try it, it's nice, and then there it is, this tiny little feeling of owing them something. Makes you just a bit more likely to buy the actual product.
Or remember Amway? They used to give out those free trial packs.
Yeah.
Cleaners, deodorizers, stuff like that for a day or two.
Right, and people often ended up ordering, not always because they loved the product, but because they felt this obligation after using it for free.
Okay, but then there's this more advanced technique, using reciprocation. The reject, then retreat thing. This was kind of sneaky.
Oh, yeah. Cialdini tells that great story about himself, right? A Boy Scout comes up, tries to sell him a $5 circus ticket first.
Which he didn't want, so he politely said no.
Exactly. Then the Scout kind of retreats and says, well, okay, how about buying a $1 chocolate bar instead?
And Cialdini, even though he didn't really want chocolate either, ended up buying 2.
Classic. The Scout made a concession dropping from $5 to $1, so Cialdini felt this automatic pressure to make a concession too by buying something.
It's clever, and it also, changes how you see the person asking. They seem more reasonable because they back down.
Yeah, it shifts them from being just someone asking for something to someone you're kind of negotiating with. Makes you more open.
So how do you, defend against that feeling of obligation?
It really comes down to awareness, doesn't it? You have to consciously pause and ask yourself, is this initial offer or this concession genuine? Or is it maybe a setup?
Like, is it a trick to get me to agree to something else?
Exactly. If it feels like a tactic, you can actually just choose to ignore that feeling of obligation. Make the decision based on whether you actually want the thing, not because you feel like you owe them.
Right. Make a rational choice, not just an automatic reaction. Okay, so that's reciprocation. Now, moving from that give and take to something more internal.
Yeah, the next one is commitment and consistency. This one's about us. Once we make a choice or take a stand on something, we feel this really strong pressure both inside ourselves and from others to act consistently with that commitment.
And Cialdini says it's deep, right? Not just surface level. It's tied into our ethics, how we see ourselves, how others see us. Being consistent makes you seem trustworthy, reliable.
Totally. Flip-flopping makes people seem, flaky or unreliable, so we strive for that consistency. It's about our self-image and our public image.
There's that famous experiment he describes, the beach blanket one.
Oh, yeah, that one's brilliant. So, first scenario. Researcher puts down a blanket, radio, leaves it. Then a Confederate comes along, pretends to steal the radio.
And almost nobody stops him.
Right.
Like only 4 out of 20 people.
Right, but then they tweak it. This time before leaving, the researcher asks the person next to them, hey, could you please watch my things?
And the person says, sure.
Yeah.
Just a small verbal commitment.
Exactly, just that tiny agreement. Now, when the thief comes, 19 out of 20 people jumped up, ran after them, challenged them, even put themselves at some risk.
Wow. Just because they made that small initial commitment? That's incredible. And businesses use this how?
Well, they try to get you to make small, seemingly harmless commitments first. Sign a petition, accept a tiny free trial, answer a survey saying you like something.
And that makes you more likely to agree to bigger things later, to stay consistent with that first small step.
Precisely. That inner need to be consistent kicks in. But what if, that first step wasn't fully thought through, or maybe circumstances change?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Cialdini warns against what he calls foolish consistency. Just sticking to something because you said you would, even if it no longer makes sense.
So the defense is basically, think again, pause, use your reason. It's okay to change your mind if sticking to the initial commitment is irrational or just not right anymore. Don't be consistent just for consistency's sake.
Makes sense. Okay, so that brings us logically to the next principle, social proof.
Right. Social proof. This is the idea that we figure out what's correct or what we should do by looking at what other people are doing or believing.
Like choosing a restaurant. We walk down the street, one place is empty, the other's buzzing. You automatically think,
the busy one must be better. More people chose it, so the food must be good. It's a mental shortcut again.
And Cialdini points out, it's strongest in 2 situations.
Yeah, mainly uncertainty and similarity. When we're unsure about something, we look to others for cues. And, crucially, we're most influenced by people we see as similar to ourselves.
That similarity part is interesting. Like that study with kids who were afraid of the dentist.
Oh, that's a great example. They showed these kids a film of another child about their age having a really positive, happy visit to the dentist.
And it actually reduced their fear significantly.
Yeah. Seeing someone like them handle it well gave them the confidence, the social proof that they could too. It's that if they can do it, maybe I can too effect.
And advertising just runs with this, doesn't it? They don't always focus on product features.
Not always, no. Often they just show you how popular the product is. Loads of happy people using it. The implication is clear. Everyone's buying this, you should too.
There's that quote, something like,
yeah, the sales one. Only 5% of our customers are initiators, and the remaining 95% are imitators. It's a bit blunt, but it highlights how much we follow the herd.
But wait, isn't there value sometimes in collective wisdom? How do you know when to trust the crowd and when to think for yourself?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The defense here isn't to just ignore everyone else. It's about developing better self-awareness and critical thinking.
So, use others as a data point? Maybe. But don't automatically outsource your decision-making.
Exactly. See what others are doing. Sure, it's useful information, but then make your own judgment. Don't just blindly follow because it seems like the popular thing to do.
Okay. Next up is liking. This one feels pretty obvious on the surface.
It does seem simple. We're more likely to say yes to people we know and like. Duh, right?
Right. But the ways that liking is generated and used are maybe less obvious.
Definitely. Think about salespeople. They love getting referrals from your friends, right? Because you already like your friends. Some of that liking transfers.
Or they'll try to find some connection, name a mutual friend, anything to avoid being seen as a complete stranger.
And they often spend real time just building rapport, trying to get you to like them as a person before they even mention the product.
Cialdini breaks down why we like people. What are some of those factors?
Well, one is just physical attractiveness. It's maybe uncomfortable, but research shows good-looking people often get treated better, get more help, make better first impressions.
Okay, what else?
Similarity. We just tend to like people who are like us, same opinions, background, even how they dress.
Like the insurance example.
Yeah.
Salespeople do better with clients who share their age or religion or hobbies.
Exactly. So maybe be a little cautious if someone you just met seems remarkably similar to you and then asks for something big.
Yeah, good point. What else creates liking?
Compliments. We all like being praised, even if we suspect it's not entirely sincere sometimes. A salesperson complimenting your choice, your style, it works.
I've definitely experienced that.
Yeah.
And cooperation.
Yeah, creating that feeling of we're on the same team, like the classic car salesman move. Let me go fight my manager to get you a better price. Makes it seem like they're on your side against the dealership.
The US versus them tactic. And finally, association.
Right. Linking a product to something or someone already liked. Celebrity endorsements are the most obvious example. You like the celebrity, hopefully you like the product they're associated with.
Okay, so liking is powerful, and there are lots of ways to trigger it. How do you resist if you genuinely like the person but maybe don't need the product?
The key, Cialdini says, is to mentally separate the requester from the request. Acknowledge that you like the person, that's fine, but then evaluate the deal, the product, the request itself on its own merits.
So liking the salesperson isn't a good enough reason on its own to buy the car.
Nope. Focus on the car itself, its features, price, reliability, not just your warm feelings towards the person selling it.
Got it. Okay, that leads us pretty naturally into authority.
Yeah. The authority principle. We tend to obey figures we perceive as having authority: parents, teachers, bosses, experts. It's deeply ingrained.
And for good reason, often, right? We're taught from childhood that authorities usually know more or have our best interests at heart.
Generally, yes. Following experts saves time, prevents mistakes. If your doctor tells you to take medicine, you generally do it. It's efficient and often very beneficial.
But the danger comes when that obedience becomes automatic, or when the symbols of authority are used deceptively.
Exactly. Like advertisers using actors dressed as doctors speaking in a serious tone, maybe in a hospital-like setting, to make a product seem more credible or scientifically backed.
Even though the actor has no actual medical expertise.
Precisely. Or, more maliciously, scammers who pose as authority figures, police officers, tax officials, tech support, to frighten people into complying.
So the defense here requires a bit more critical thinking.
It does. Cialdini suggests asking two crucial questions when faced with an authority figure telling you to do something. First, is this authority truly an expert in the specific area?
Check their credentials, basically. Don't just trust the uniform or the title.
Right. And second, how truthful can I expect them to be here? Are they likely to be impartial, or do they have something to gain by my compliance?
So question their expertise and their trustworthiness in the situation.
Yeah.
Avoid just blindly obeying.
Exactly. Don't let the symbols of authority overwhelm your own judgment.
Okay. That brings us to the last of the 6 principles. Scarcity.
Scarcity. The idea that opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited. Think rare stamps, limited edition art, antiques.
Their value comes largely from the fact that they're hard to get.
Precisely. And businesses use this all the time. Limited time offer. Only 3 left in stock. Sale ends Friday.
The deadline tactic, the limited number tactic.
Yeah.
It all creates that sense of urgency. Makes you feel you have to act now.
And Cialdini makes this really interesting point. The fear of losing something is often a much stronger motivator than the desire of gaining it.
Like the tourism example. People rushing to see places like Venice or the Maldives because they hear they might disappear soon.
Exactly. The threat of loss makes the experience seem much more valuable and urgent.
Scarcity also ties into difficulty and competition, doesn't it?
Oh, big time. Things that are harder to get become more desirable. He even mentions Romeo and Juliet. Their family's opposition actually seemed to make their love stronger, more precious, because it was forbidden.
That forbidden fruit effect. Or how sometimes in relationships, someone might mention a new admirer just to make their current partner value them more through perceived competition.
Yeah, it taps into that possessiveness. And think about those crazy clearance sales, first come, first served. People go into a frenzy grabbing things without even thinking.
Right, not checking sizes, just grabbing because it's contested, because someone else might get it. Cialdini says there's something almost physical about wanting a contested item.
That competitive drive just overrides rational thought sometimes. It's a powerful trigger.
So, faced with that scarcity pressure, that feeling of, I need to get this now before it's gone, how do you push back?
The key defense Cialdini offers is to stop and ask yourself, why do I want this thing? Is it because of its actual use or function? Or is it purely because it's scarce or others want it?
So separate the desire to possess it because it's rare from the desire to use it for what it does.
Exactly. A cookie doesn't taste any better just because it's the last one in the jar. Its function, its taste, its utility that hasn't changed. The scarcity is just affecting your perception of its value.
So recognize the emotional rush that scarcity creates, take a breath, and focus on the actual utility of the item or opportunity. Don't let the fear of missing out drive the decision.
That's the goal. Avoid that impulse driven purely by the scarcity principle.
Okay, so that's a run-through of Cialdini's 6 big principles. Reciprocation, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity.
Yeah, and just knowing about them, becoming aware of how they work. That's hugely empowering, isn't it?
Definitely. It helps you, the listener, spot these techniques when they're being used, maybe make more rational choices for yourself, protect yourself from being unduly influenced.
And potentially use them yourself, but hopefully in an ethical way to communicate more effectively.
Right. So the final thought to leave you with is this. Now that you have this awareness, now that you know these triggers exist, how might that change how you navigate your daily interactions?
Yeah, not just in terms of defending yourself, but maybe in understanding the subtle dynamics happening all around you all the time. Perhaps even using that understanding to connect with people in a more, I don't know, more conscious and maybe even profound way.